Ticker symbol COSM gets the upside that we were looking for just a little faster than anticipated, right? So let's go ahead and go over the broader markets and the statistics because there are several things that have fired off with this volatility that we were talking about getting yesterday. Okay, you guys. So what is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a COSM technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, team, so we are looking at the micro E-mini Russell 2000 futures contracts here versus spot price action on the Russell 2000 ETF, the IWM ticker, right, on the daily chart, and also paired with COSM just to show that the broader markets showing all that strength has in fact helped COSM with the upside too. Okay, so this is absolutely bullish. Remember that we were talking about obtaining the golden cross here, which is consistent of the SMA 50 crossing above the SMA 200 on both the IWM ticker and the micro E-mini Russell 2000 futures contracts also got that golden cross, right? So very awesome time here, team. So let's go ahead and move on the analysis here and show you something else. Okay, so this is in fact the broadening descending wedge that we were talking about here as happening in like sister wedges, right? So this one broke out in about a 14-day period, and this one broke out in a 14.25 times 2, so 25-day period, right? So nice breaking out of a upside of that 324, which we were speaking of yesterday as being a critical resistance to make sure to close over when we do start getting that volatility, right? So we were talking about the day traders and all that. So if you are curious over what I mentioned, go ahead and refer back to yesterday's video, right? So yes, anyway, we did get that breakout. We did get that daily closure upside of the 324, just like we were talking about, right? And there could be actually a continuation to the upside here, which is absolutely curious. All right. So now, first of all, if we want the target from based on the psychological properties of this formation here, then you would take a trend line from that breakout candle, right, which could be here, and you would actually take that trend line all the way to the bottom side of the trend, and then you apply it to the top side. So when you apply it here, it's taking us to a target of about $3 and let's see, yeah, $3.77. So let's just go ahead and kind of put that there at 377 and then adjust our resistance levels here to the top side of the wick here. Okay, so I would give this a range of resistance between 377 and 398. Okay, team, so that's kind of what's happening here based on a discretionary style, right? So now let's go ahead and move on to the next chart because this is absolutely good, great news. Okay, so this is, let me see if I want to talk about it. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this. This is the 8-hour volatility versus momentum backtest, and we were actually going over this in the live stream today when somebody said COSM moving, and I'm like, oh my goodness, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going down with that, right? So upon getting this nice pump to the upside, several signals have fired off, and this being one of them, right? So go ahead and take a look at this. So anytime that volatility has contracted into this critical zone here, which is the 15% of contraction, and started an expansion phase towards the upside paired with paired with momentum with an upside pivot, I've actually taken note of every iteration throughout the entire trading history of the COSM asset on the 8-hour chart where that's happened, right? So not only have I taken the upside thrust, but I've also taken the duration of the iteration and also the amount of times that the profile have guessed the upside correctly versus incorrectly. So that has given us the sample set here has given us this data set, and you're looking at a total of 16 iterations, of which 12 were guessed correctly to the upside, giving us an average upside accuracy of 75% with an average upside thrust, or the mean, of about 115.23% over the span of just over 6 days. I did calculate the standard deviation based on the bell curve, right? So we have here 298.45% as a standard deviation, or 68% of the results where they would land. Now, I did calculate an unusable lower bound of the first standard deviation, and just a really massive a really massive upper bound of the first standard deviation here of 413 spots, 68%. I'm not saying that we're going there. I am saying that we can use these targets to find areas of relevant resistances along the way up during the firing of the signal, right? Which happened today. We absolutely got that signal fired today at literally this 8-hour candle right here. So from the opening valuation of this, 115.23% to the upside would take us to about $7. Okay, so that remember that's $7, right? So I'm talking about that we're evaluating the areas of higher probability resistances like 482. We have one at like let's see, another one at $4. Pardon me. And we do have a very confluent $7 resistance over here too, right? So we have some areas of interest to look at. There's another one right over here that we can look at that could be at 613, right? So that's kind of how the stats work. They're to help us observe the targets on our way towards the top side of the mean or the standard deviation, right? So, and now the other targets are just so super frothy that they make no sense to talk about them just now. So 1273 to the what's called the standard deviation, and then the upper bound of the first standard deviation would land to around 1644. Of course, targets of which we should probably not speak of just yet, and evaluate first the higher probability targets, right? So very bullish cross upside of the SMA 200 on the 8-hour time frame. And what I do have to show you guys is this is my final validator for a statistical play. Anytime that we do have volatility either expanding or contracting alongside an upside pivot or downside pivot, whatever this profile is, when we have DMI, and particularly the ADX of the DMI, which is the dotted white line or dotted cyan line, that's sitting at 35.61%. That is massively strong. So this, whenever it's sitting at 25%, is already suggesting it's a market trending for whoever's on top. DMI plus, in this case, aka bulls. DMI minus being the red ones, bears. Okay, so in this case, we are absolutely at 35%, and we have the bulls on top. Okay, so we have DMI support for the volatility versus momentum setup, and that gives a further validity to the statistical side of the analysis for a true firing of the signal, right? So yeah, I do see very, very nice price action coming in for COSM, and I have no idea why, but volatility versus momentum are suggesting as such. Okay, team, so let's go ahead and now move on to this. Alongside the 8-hour time frame, this is another backtest that I performed here, and this is the daily, right? So daily critical contraction to expansion. I do have to say that it has not fired just yet, although we are starting to expand with an upside pivot here on stochastic momentum, right? So as soon as this volatility component and moving average are beyond with an upside pivot, beyond the 15th percentile paired with an upside of stochastics, that's when we can start applying these moves. But these are a lot smaller, right? So we're looking at let's see, 37 total iterations here throughout the entire trading history of the COSM asset on the daily, right? So same criteria, same context, and that gives us about 37. We got 33 out of those correctly guessed to the upside, so that gives us an 89.18% upside accuracy, and the mean is actually 28.06%. Okay, so if we were to calculate that from the present or from the price action from the previous day, then that would be taking us to upwards of about $3.96, which is very familiar because we were speaking of this 115. I'm sorry, the 115 percent range, and we were talking about this range here being at about where was it? This one here, being at around $4, right? Resistance is at $4. Here we go, 395, 398, right over here on this resistance, which was also one of the iterations that we practiced. So yeah, lots of confluence happening here, and it's looking very good, to be very honest, right? So immediate short-term time frame, 30-minute is already suggesting an upside, even from the 5-minute. It doesn't even look like it has any pullback right now. So it is pivoted vertically here. So we have the bi-hourly time frame in agreement. Also the 4-hour time frame upside pivot on the SMA 14 and the signal line, right? Notice here that the 8-hour time frame is approaching the it is in the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile. Very likely for this to get pulled to the upside. The 12-hour time frame has arrived at the bull strength percentile upside pivot on that SMA 14, and here on the daily time frame, it has arrived at the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile, which is very likely to get pulled up. More notably, the 3-day making a cross upside of the SMA 14, very bullish, and of course the 5-day time frame finding the support from the SMA 14, and we're finding an upside pivot on that. Yeah, guys, COSM is looking very bullish, and I do see this as a high probability that we can continue to the upside in the short, starting from the short term, right? So just know that I'm not first and foremost that I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets, right? I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. So let's just look real quick. Man, there's really like no yeah, there's everything is suggesting an upside here, so which makes me feel like we're gonna have to face some type of resistance from the price action here. So let's see, we could get, yeah, let me get the moving averages out of the way. This is very discretionary, right? So 349 to about 355. Yeah, 349 to about 355. We can face a retracement. Let's go ahead and draw it in, right? Just like this here to the top side of about 355. Yeah, we could face a retracement from this area here, resistance, and then this would highly likely come back and start validating the support of these two candle tops here, right? Which would be right at about 345 before a continuation to the upside. So that I mean, if you're looking to, of course, we're talking about paper trading right here, right? Simulator trading, right? So if you're looking to get long your simulator trade to for training, then yes, I think that would potentially be a zone to look out for. Bottom side of the range could be located at about 335. So, and it is 335 to around 330, I would say. So it's saying 333 to be perfectly honest. But let me see if I can get it a little tighter. Maybe. Oh my goodness, maybe. Less likely, right? But still in the cards. 330 to 335 would be that zone, right? So other than that, of course, it would be rejection from this top side of the range to come back down to the 345 zone, or yeah, I would say 344, right? Just here as that zone to bounce from, right? But just in case it fails that 344, then we have this secondary area, 330 to 335. Okay, team. Yeah, but with that said, I wish you well a very, very good night. And yeah, any questions, hit me up, but I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios, team.